CFRI, Robin Daniels. She's the head of the Advanced Investors Group that meets every week. Come on up. This is a really great deal.
You want me over here?
Just stand right here.
Okay.
As long as you can see the slide, you're good. Robin
Hello.
Daniels, go for it. There you
Awesome.
go. Could stand right there.
Hey, everybody. My husband Alan and I have been investing for 15 years, mainly buying and holding properties in Osceola County. And this duplex we found by doing a mailer to multifamily owners 9 years ago. And 9 years ago, the owner called us and said, "I'm retiring, I'm ready to sell." He was managing this duplex on his own without a lot of landlording training. And he was always asking too much. Yada, yada, yada. 9 years later, after Alan really did a lot of legwork on this in terms of trying to negotiate different ways of buying it from him, owner financing, sandwich leasing, he ended up helping him tarp the roof during the hurricanes, because that was how long ago this was, because we were about to just start negotiating with him at that time. He helped him with a lot of landlording advice over the years, always thinking at some point maybe he'd decide to sell this place. It was near other properties that we own, so we were very interested in the location itself, and because the owner had other properties to sell too. January of this year, we finally bought it. One of his properties. He was motivated because the tenant on the left side of this duplex, who had lived there for 21 years, had not been paying her rent for 3 months. And he didn't really know how to handle it because he was concerned about the tenant's son, who he thought was a troublemaker, and he was worried about retaliation if he started any kind of eviction proceedings. Alan told him, just pay them to leave so that they won't destroy the place, give them some money to leave quickly. He didn't do that, and when Alan talked to him and asked him, what are you willing to sell for now, he still said $120,000, which it clearly was not worth. But Alan brought the handout from a copy of the property appraiser's assessed value, which showed it was worth $67,900 according to that, and then a comp nearby showing it sold for $75,000, and left those with him. He doesn't use a computer, so we left those copies with him, and his answer was, I'll take them to my grave before I sell for that price. But 1 week later, he called and said, okay, I'll sell it to you for $67,900. So you never know, right? 9 years later. This was before the repairs. We ended up putting $15,000 in repairs, and this was after, just for the kitchen area of the side where the tenant lived that had that was there for 21 years. So we stepped in and bought it. Before we closed, we, with the owner's permission, went to the tenant on the left side and presented some offers to her. Money to leave quickly, or we're going to basically go after you for back rents if you take too long to leave. But in a nice way, because we told her we were renovating the property, the new owners were renovating the property, and she knew it needed renovations. The cabinets were basically totally falling apart. She'd been asking it to be renovated for the years that she'd been living there. So it allowed her to save face. It wasn't like, we want you out. We offered her $1,000 to move out quickly. She called the next day and said, okay, I'll take it, as opposed to staying a little bit longer and not getting any money. And we only give them the money if they're leaving and they haven't done excessive damage to the place. It's clear they haven't retaliated in any way. So she was happy. She moved out. We were happy. We were able to get in 5 days after closing to start renovating to get a new tenant in quickly, which we did within 6 weeks. The new tenants moved in, which was pretty good. We ended up raising the rents. So the repairs totally were just under $15,000. We raised the rents from $650 each side to $750 and $675. Our total rent then is $1425 a month for the duplex. 40% is on average over the years we've been managing properties, what we end up spending for taxes, insurance, and all the maintenance and repairs for properties. That's a good rule of thumb to use. So $855 a month is our income from the property. But you guys should be wondering, the big question here is, where'd the money come from, right? Because we closed, we paid $67,900 cash to close quickly with this guy, so he wouldn't change his mind. And what I did was, it's a little bit skewed. The interest rate up there is 4.5%. We got a private loan for $70,000, which was slightly more than what we paid for the property, which we would have never been able to do if we went to a bank to get a bank loan. This private lender was somebody that we were already paying payments to on 2 other properties he sold us last year with seller financing. So we had established a good relationship with him. We pay him early. He's really happy with our landlording skills and what we did to the properties we bought from him. So I approached him before we closed and said, we've got these deals in the works, 2 different duplexes. We've got some private lenders and joint venture partners kind of lined up already, but is this the kind of deal that you might be interested in ever lending on in the future? And he very enthusiastically responded with yes, because we knew he wasn't earning what he wanted to earn on his retirement money that was all in, a lot of it was in CDs. So he was happy with 4.5% and a 20-year AM loan, which is exactly what we got on the other loans we got from him last year. I didn't want to change anything. And so we pay $443 a month for the principal interest payment. So it gives us $412 a month in cash flow on this duplex that we'll probably hold forever. Easy, easy, easy for us to rent and maintain because it's close to our other properties near our handyman. We have a family member that drives by it twice a day, can keep their eyes on it. So our cash flow is just under $5,000 a year. So based on our $15,000 repair out of pocket, we basically get paid back in 3 years and have a 33% ROI.
A round of applause. Now, one of the things during my conversation with Robin why I thought this was a really great deal is we spoke about the fact that a lot of folks are trying to get private lenders and it's a challenge for them. And she pointed out aptly that your best private lenders are
Sellers.
Yeah, when you get seller financing up front, if you pay on time, you develop a relationship over time, and then they become your future lenders. Mm-hmm. The other thing that you shared is you learned from Mr. Landlord, who's our guest speaker tonight.
He was the very first class that we ever went to when we first bought duplexes 15 years ago. We signed up for the Mr. Landlord cruise because he had a seminar in there about how to work with your spouse in the real estate business without killing each other. So that was my reason for signing up. But it was very informative, yeah.
And the key thing about this deal is this older gentleman, how old was he?
So he's in his 70s now.
Yeah, he was in his 70s. He had no landlording experience.
Well, he owned properties, but he didn't get trained
no education.
In any way.
So that's a clue, everybody.
Yeah, you become a motivated seller when you don't know what you're doing.
Right. Are there any quick questions? Anybody? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Question is where the $15,000 came from? Out of pocket?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
Do you intend to try to renegotiate that mortgage in 10 years or so to see if you can get a better deal with a balloon or something?
Do you intend to renegotiate and get a better
with my private
balloon?
lender?
Yeah.
Probably not with this loan. I do know that he holds another note that had a balloon on it. You mean to get a longer term on it? What do you mean by balloon? Because there's no balloon on it now.
For example, after 10 years, you might offer $60,000 cash instead of.
I wouldn't do that with him because I'm discounting him from what he lent money on. This wasn't a seller finance deal. He lent the money out on it, and I probably will end up doing more deals with him where he lends the money. So I wouldn't discount him, but I could do other things. I could say if we increase the payment, lower the rate, depending on what our goals are at the time in terms of paying it off, but I probably would leave it alone. Or if I sold the property, try to move it over to another property.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
We have to go.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you, folks. All right. Here you go. Don't leave your... Robin gets a $25 gift certificate, compliments of Home Depot. Here you are.